before God. Bottom line, what he's saying, and he's trying to be polite, he's one of the most polite of the three. What he's trying to say is, Job, as far as I'm concerned, those who sow iniquity reap it. Now, it's very important for you to know that in the next chapters, that is chapters 6 and 7, Job gives his reply. And Job pours out his vexation of heart. Notice chapter 6, verse 4, "For the arrows of the Almighty are within me, their poison my spirit drinks. The terrors of God are arrayed against me." And if you read these chapters, you will find that Job is pouring out all of his vexation, his grief, and his anguish. Now, what you need to know is that Eliphaz shows up 2 more times, because each of these men end up all giving 3 speeches to which Job replies, except Zophar gives only 2. There's another young man that comes and takes his 3rd speech, and we'll be introduced to him in a future message. So that's all that we'll say about Eliphaz. Now we come to another man whom some people have said is the smallest man, surely, in all of history. His name is Bildad the Shuhite. Let's look at chapter 8. Am I going too fast for some of you? Notice, let's look at chapter 8, where Bildad comes up and he begins to give his speech. He says in verse 5, "If you would seek God and implore the compassion of the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, surely now he would rouse himself for you and restore your righteous estate. Though your beginning was insignificant, yet your end will increase greatly." So what he is saying is essentially the same thing. If you really sought God, Job, there you are, you're complaining, you're talking about how depressed you are, you're wishing for the day that you were born, and you wish you had died before you were born or at birth. But Job, if you just got serious with God, he'd meet you. Now, where does he get his information? Well, if Eliphaz is a mystic, this man is a historian. Notice what he says, "Please inquire of past generations and consider the things searched out by their fathers, for we are only of yesterday and know nothing, because our days on earth are as a shadow. Will they not teach you and tell you and bring forth words from their minds?" Job, what you need to do is to go back and to look at tradition and look at what others have said, and you will find nuggets of wisdom that will help you through this circumstance. And so I want you to notice that Job replies now in chapters 9 and 10. And he spills out his soul. He says in chapter 9, verse 2, "In truth I know that it is so, but how can a man be right before God?" What you're saying may be right, and you tell me to seek God, but how do I find him? In fact, we're going to be considering that in a future message, as Job spills out his heart and says, where is God when I need him? Why does he always hide himself when I am in the midst of all of this distress? But he doesn't help Job's despair. In fact, if we had the time, we'd see that at the end of this speech, Job begins to sink into deep depression again and wish for death. Now let me introduce you to a third of his friends, the third friend, and he is the meanest of all of them. And he is Zophar. Zophar the Naamathite, chapter 11, verse 1. He begins to talk to Job, and he just is waiting to give his speech. He says, "Shall a multitude of words go unanswered, and a talkative man be acquitted? Shall your boasts silence men, and shall you scoff and none rebuke? For you have said, my teaching is pure, and I am innocent in your eyes, but would that God might speak." Let's pick it up at verse 7. "Can you discover the depths of God? Can you discover the limits of the Almighty? They are as high as the heavens. What can you do? Deeper than Sheol. What can you know? Its measure is longer than the earth and broader than the sea." Well, my friend, I'm sure that all of us have experienced friends who are something like Job's comforters. They mean well, but they walk into a hospital room and they begin to condemn you and tell you that if you just had more faith, you wouldn't be here, and somehow God is trying to get even with us because of our sins. Well, of course, in the book of Job, Job struggles with these friends, and at the end, as we shall see, God was angry with these friends. You know, as I have lived in life, I've learned that we cannot always read the depths of God's purposes, or more accurately, I should say, we can almost never read the depths of God's purposes. God is so much more mysterious than I think that many of us thought that he ever was. And so oftentimes, when it comes to comforting others, rather than us pretending that we can speak on God's behalf, speak words of judgment, let us change that and speak words of encouragement, support, and hope. Now here's your assignment for today. Find someone who needs encouragement. If you can't get to see them, call them on the telephone. Pray with them and simply say, "You are on my mind today and I wanted to encourage you." It'll transform the rest of their day. They will be blessed, and so will you.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. You've just heard Erwin Lutzer with part 1 of When Comfort is Discomfort, another message in his series, God, Why Me? The Story of Job. Tomorrow, more well-meant advice. Running to Win comes to you from the Moody Church in Chicago. This 8-part series can be yours on CD as our thank you when you give a gift of any amount to support Running to Win. Just call us at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. Ask about God, Why Me? Online, go to offerrtw.com. That's offerrtw, all one word, .com. Or write to Running to Win at Box 11174, Chicago, Illinois 60611. This is Dave McAllister. For more about the life of Job, join us tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of Running to Win.